Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? My desk was all messed up when I got here. Hey, it is the second Thursday. Not really a significant day because tomorrow is non-farms payroll. But we did have some interesting movement, particularly in the yield curve yesterday. So let's go and look if I can find my charts. Here we go. So the E-mini, another day where they kind of struggled. You know, they were okay overnight, and then during the day, kind of meh. Now, I think a lot of that is just the non-farms payroll, right? Friday, pretty big deal. Really a pretty big deal. Now, in the treasuries, we had this move higher, and then it kind of came back. So when we saw the ADP, that moved us higher. And then when we saw like the manufacturing numbers, which were pretty close to in line, really, we came back a little bit. But then, in the end, they just kind of balanced back out. And now in the overnight, we're a little bit higher. Which is, I don't know, if we want yields to increase, might have a good opportunity here with initial jobless claims. We're expecting 345,000. So there's kind of our setup there. Oil's still struggling, but holding its range. Yeah. Gold and silver. Well, gold is just like sideways. Silver, though, yesterday had a great day. I think somebody came in and said, this is oversold compared to gold, bought it up. So, yeah. Copper's still struggling a little bit, though, because of supply from China. I can't say it like Donald Trump can. We come back out here and just take a look at some currencies real quick. You can see that the dollar taking a beating yesterday. Bitcoin itself continues to be somewhat lackluster, but Ethereum, wowee, it's just going. Ethereum, look at Ethereum. That is just from 1900 and just in August, from 2000 to almost 4,000, so almost doubling. And in that same time, I guess they moved from 30,000. But Bitcoin hasn't been nearly as good. It's the second NFT bubble. I don't know, man. I just think these NFTs are so completely useless. It's like Beanie Babies, but anybody can make their own new brand of Beanie Babies every day. Anyways, so yeah, we've got these initial jobless claims coming up. That's going to be a pretty big number. 345. If that is lower than expected, then that's really going to increase anticipation that tomorrow's jobs number will be good. So we might see those yields increase. And I don't know how the S&P 500 will deal with it. I mean, hopefully they read it as good, but oh, now that's interesting. They're going to read U.S. international trade first. Okay. Negative 71 million. I want to see that initial jobless claims. 345. No, I should turn on the chat tools. Oh man, they just completely pull down in here when they go. Okay, initial jobless claims almost completely in line. So we don't really learn anything new from that one. Let's see what happens here. I have a little bit of food, so we'll just watch it here, and I'm gonna eat. So that's interesting. Are we gonna get some steepening again? You can see the 30-year moving down more. Good morning, AM. They're being pretty indecisive right here. They were moving up for a second, and then the 5-year, I think, said, nope, but then they haven't gone anywhere since. In the 10-year, there maybe it looks like there's a little bit of buying right there, right? Well, somebody's willing to sell it at 19.5, though. Interest rates well below the rate of economic growth, argues Edward Chandler. I've never heard of him before, but he's right. So with the interest rates, so something you got to keep in mind is like, what are the interest rates compared to inflation, and what are they compared to growth? So when you get a situation where the interest rates are higher than the GDP, then you got a problem. You got a big problem, right? Or when they're less than the inflation, then you got a really big problem. So I'm just looking at the S&P 500. Really wishy-washy, but they do seem slightly tilted to the long side. Excuse me, hold on a second. Let me, get all the burps and stuff out. Anyways, the S&P 500 looks slightly tilted to the long side. And the treasuries, they seem pretty happy right here. There is a hint of steepening in the yield curve where the 30-year wants to go down more. But so far, they haven't really moved outside of this range. With the jobless claims being in line, that's actually a really good thing, I think. Well, it was 5K under. So it was 340 versus 345. I think that's a really good thing, because the concern is that the jobs numbers on Friday are going to be really bad or under expectation. That's what the ADP might suggest to us. Now, the ADP number has not been very indicative of what the jobs number on Friday ends up being. So that one was bad. This one, it was in line. I think that kind of suggests that tomorrow we could get a number close to in line too, the 750,000 or higher. And that's probably why the E-mini is tilted to the upside and the treasuries are tilted to the downside. But since it was just in line, and it doesn't look like anybody's really willing to stick their neck out and, push these down. If you eat 2 Hass, this will inhale extra. Yeah, I think that's what it did. Well, I drank a bunch of water there, so it was like my stomach had to equalize. Greg Greenwald, it seems like a bad idea to balkanize the society generally, whereby people with different ideologies are forced to use different internet platforms, consume their own news, frequent different public establishments, use separate banks, and generally segregate. Yeah, it definitely is, especially if you have to use different banks. That is like, that a bank can basically say, well, you say controversial things, so we're not going to do business with you anymore, I think is insane. Insane. Well, you think that 19 is going to become the point of control for the session? Maybe. Oh, wait, I got an email from the CME group. What's this? Test drive the newest micro futures in our trading challenge. It's never too late to learn something new or to master a new skill, like learning to trade the expanding suite of micro futures from CME Group. Spend 1 week practicing in a risk-free simulated trading environment and learning the ins and outs of the recently launched offerings, Micro WTI crude oil and Micro 10-year yield futures, a part of our new micro futures lineup. Launched on July 12th, micro crude futures are 1/10 the size of the standard WTI futures, providing an efficient, cost-effective new way to fine-tune oil exposure and enhance your trading strategies. Blah, 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 blah. In this educational competition, the top 3 finishers, who also complete all the educational requirements, will earn cash prizes. What's the cash prize? Register now. Good downtick there in the 10-year. The first place prize is $2,500. when you start your jigsaw for the open, when the regular trading sessions start, my DOMs, man, see, I'm burping and everything. When the regular session starts, my DOMs reset. So this is showing me just from the RTH. Decent amount going into 18 there now too. Now, do we have more news today? We have factory orders at 10. Okay, well, that's not a huge deal, so you can program it to whatever you want. Yeah, so if you come in here, when you're setting the instrument, you can change the session, right? And so I think there is a CME indexes, and then there's somewhere 930. Maybe you have to make a new one. Oh, there's a default 24/7 one. There you go. So that's probably what you would want to use if you just wanted to do the whole extended session. I like to reset it just because, like, here's the thing. Like, if a ton of volume traded earlier in the day at 16, doesn't mean that there's going to be a ton of volume there again. I mean, it's worth watching, but it's not nearly as important to me as what positions have people put on since the regular session started. So it would be nice information to have both of them, but I think that seeing the distribution of the current session's positions is more important. So that's why I do it that way. Well, I feel well. First of all, I don't know if I would do all too great in their challenge. I'm not aggressive enough. I'm not aggressive enough for those challenges, unless I just like YOLO it, just YOLO it and everything. Plus, with micro treasury futures in particular, like it'll be kind of hard on Sim. They should just do a contest where it's you actually have to use live orders. Let's do a contest. You have to use live orders. You have to do it on the 10-year, but you can only use one contract ever. You can only ever use one contract. It has to be live orders, and they factor in your commissions and everything. Roof is done. Dumpster is gone. Yeah, you've done a lot of home improvements to your house, Susie. Oh man, I was going down through my list of things that I want to do to the house and everything. So many things. But this, it's a 3-day weekend this weekend. You realize that? What are you guys going to do on Monday? I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think what I'm going to do on Monday, I got this garden out there, and I built, there was going to be 3 garden boxes in it. I built 1 garden box, and then after that, the prices of everything went nuts, all right? So, weeds have been growing in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all of the weeds out and put down that fabric material, that's supposed to prevent the weeds from growing. And maybe even get some gravel if I can decide what kind of gravel I want to put on it. Yep, landscape fabric. But the question is, what is the best kind of gravel for me to use in my garden? Because what I want to have is, I want to have 3 boxes. It's weird. I gotta draw you a picture. I'll draw you a picture up here. I know a lot of people like to see the overnight volume profile. I try to justify my call. I want it out of the way for the oven. Well, there you go. Especially in the E-mini, man. I feel like that the overnight levels in the E-mini don't mean very much. Okay, so my yard is kind of like this. So I've got this garden box like this, and I think I have one box like that. So we're gonna have two more like that, right? And yeah, then the outside parts of this I want to be gravel. And then there's like a bush here and here. So I'll make little circles around those bushes. So the question is, what's the best kind of gravel to use in my garden? So then I come over here. Let's bring that back up now. Where's my ZB? It disappeared. Oh, there it is. No, I want ZF. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So then I come over here and I start searching. Utah gravel. Let's try this one. I can't remember which one. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so like they have different gravels, but then it's like, which one? Which one is best? Half-inch Moab Dusty Rose. Ochre gravel. Like there's so many choices. I think a lot of it is just which color you want. But I think the thing that matters to me is like the size of them, because it's pretty windy in this area. So I think that I need to have a certain size of gravel. Anyways, I know nothing about gravel. Desert stars. That looks interesting. You know what I would really like? White marble. There you go. But that's 1.5 inch. This is too big, I think. Emerald City. Vegas gravel. Black obsidian. Ooh. That's very expensive though. YouTube. What are you saying, ABC? I believe pea gravel is better for drainage. See, Winston's asking all of the right questions. I don't know what lasts the longest. Does it break down faster? YouTube, your gravel. Okay, maybe later. Yeah, no. Drywalling is a real. On TikTok. There's these guys that are like professional drywallers, and they post videos of them drywalling. Because it's kind of like satisfying to watch them do it so well, and they are crazy good at it. Like really crazy good. Oh, Alex posted us some timestamps to use. Oh, thank you so much, Alex. Alex is one of our best viewers. He's not typically always on here. I think that he gets on a little bit later, but he always comments on the videos, and he helped us out here. That's so good. Okay. Hanging drywall is easy. Taping and mudding flats and butts is an art form. Yeah. It's the mudding. Yeah, I should say it's not the drywalling, it's the mudding that's hard. I don't know how these people do it. Like it's like you got to apply the right amount of mud and the right amount of pressure at the right angle, and they just do it perfectly every time. And here I'm trying to do one time that I've tried to do this sort of thing. I was like, no, that's not. And you never can get it quite right. And they just one swipe and they're done. It's like, what the? It's construction, I think, is a really interesting domain. It's a really interesting domain because everybody can do it. Like really, like everybody can put drywall up and mud it. Everybody can paint a wall. Everybody can go and cut wood. These sorts of things. But the people that do it professionally are so much better at it than the regular person. And it's crazy to me how they can be so much better at it than me. Like why is mudding so difficult for me? Or like I watch these other TikTok videos where they're painting, because for me, like if I'm painting up, I just want the wall to be one color and the ceiling is going to be a different color, then I'm probably going to put tape up so that I get a good line there and I don't get paint on the other. But they don't do that. They just have a good brush and they're just really accurate with the brush and they get a perfectly straight line and they don't get the paint on anything and they don't have to tape it off or anything like that. Like, what? How do they do that? And then their brush, I don't know what it is that they do, but there's something about their I think it's a combination of the brush that they're using and their technique with brushing that the paint just goes on way better. You can do it with a good brush or a piece of cardboard with an air sprayer. Well, I think my parents were helping my sister with the terrace basement and they were using an air sprayer to do the wall. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if we really need to talk about this too much, but there's going to be a lot of political drama today because the Supreme Court last night declined to put a stay against Texas's anti-abortion law that bans abortion if a heartbeat is detected. I'm a little concerned that a heartbeat might be too soon because some people might not even realize they're pregnant yet. But as to its constitutionality, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, the abortion issue in Texas. Oh, geez, yeah. So I'm just seeing here Jake Sherman retweeting Burgess Everett saying it's unclear. Changing the filibuster rules would be a long-term gain for abortion rights supporters. In a 50-50 Senate right now, it's not crystal clear there's a majority for expanding abortion rights. And in the future, a GOP trifecta would try to curb access on a national scale. Yeah, it totally would. If they actually made Congress actually made a law about it. Mm-hmm. You miss watching U.S. politics as entertaining. Did you used to live in the U.S., AO? Or are you just missing it because it's quieted down so much? Yeah, but politics over here is still very messed up, I think. But it's not. I saw this video the other day. I thought this guy made such a good point. Oh my gosh. He made such a good point. He was saying, okay, like, you don't care about politics or you don't want to care about politics, right? Stop giving the government so much power. Like, the reason that politics is such a big deal right now is because the federal government has so much power. It can make a difference in your life and things like that. And the more power that the government gets, the more it's going to be clash against people, and it's going to be very divisive, and people are going to be talking about it a lot because it's going to be more and more important to their lives. Like, oh dang, that's totally it. Especially when you get to the point where like the government's giving you checks and stuff, right? You never lived outside the U.S. You just find the bickering entertaining. I get you. Well, the other issue really is, and I know that some people on the other side of the aisle, they don't see it this way, but the media really has been taking sides on specific issues and specific individuals, and it's become extremely problematic. Like, I saw this really great video the other day where I think it was on NBC, they watched Joe Biden's big speech. And they were like, well, Joe Biden, he accepted blame for the disaster there, and it was a very good speech, and this and that and the other. And this guy came in, and he was like, I watched a very different speech. And then he went into all of the efforts that he had done over the last 6 months to try and get these people out of Afghanistan. And they gave them lists of the people and all of their plans to get them out and everything. And the administration didn't do anything. And it was just such a scathing rebuke. And the whole time you're just sitting there going like, how in the hell can NBC News be like the news anchor say what he just said? And then this guy comes in and says, here's the actual situation on the ground. It was like crazy. It's like this is why people don't trust your media anymore. I've become rather pragmatic with our state politics. I vote Democrat or Republican. Well, it's simple. If a Democrat becomes governor, our business is gone, we're locked down, and we can't pay our bills. Therefore, I'll vote for a Republican. You know, it was getting close there, don't you think? I really, there was a point at which I was saying, you know, if this Delta thing gets any worse, Joe Biden might try and implement a lockdown, and that would be a really big problem. But it didn't happen. But now they're saying that there's another version of the virus that is pretty virulent, or it spreads pretty quickly, and the vaccine doesn't really help. To which I would wonder, how does natural immunity fare against that variant? What kind of moron votes to have everything taken from them by the government in the name of safety? Well, I think that the kind of person that votes for that doesn't think that they're going to have, probably doesn't have too much to be taken away from them to begin with. It's definitely the small business owners that have taken this on the nose. It doesn't get the attention it deserves, does it? Like they literally use the pandemic to strengthen the position of big box retailers and weaken the position of small businesses, to the point that many small businesses are just going to lose everything or already lost everything. It's absolutely insane. Yeah. And what kind of impacts are that going to have on the long-term economy? Are the small businesses just going to bounce back in a year? I'm not so sure who's going to do that. It's surprising to see how America is slipping from being a free country to becoming more like China. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you that it's going in that direction, yes, but it's still a slog. It's more thematic than anything when we're talking about becoming more like China. Okay. The US government is not going to limit your video game playing hours to 3 hours a week now. You know? Do you guys hear about that one? Oh, when I first heard that, I was like, what? They can wait, what? That is, I looked at this policy. Okay, so wait, I should tell you what the policy is. So the policy is that you cannot play video games on weekdays, and you can only play it on the weekends. And like, I think that the total number of hours that you can play is 3 hours. And they're saying to the video game makers that you have to put face recognition software in there to track who is playing and this and that and the other, so that you can't try and get around the rules by like making a bunch of accounts or something like that. I kind of wonder if you're like a 16-year-old, if you're like a 17-year-old Chinese guy and the government says you can't play video games anymore and you're really into video games, and probably a lot of young men are in China, like that, I think that would really turn you against the government, wouldn't it? Because I would certainly turn you against your parents. Right? Like, oh, that's a little huh. It would be funny if the Chinese government got taken down because they banned, they limited video game playing time. That would just be classic. Good morning, Kulud. If there's anything I want to do in my life, it's rot in my house and wait for paltry claims from the government to make their way through a partisan bureaucratic glue and into my pocket just so I can pay half a month's worth of bills. Yeah. So here's something that I don't get. Is like here in Utah, we had lockdowns in the month of March of 2020, and we locked down for 2 to 4 weeks, and then after that everything was fine and things opened back up, and you still had to wear a mask when you went outside, but you could do things, and now you can just do anything. And there are some places, on the other hand, that have been locked down this whole time. These people haven't been working and everything. What have people been doing for a year? Because that 1 week, in that first week of lockdown, I remember seeing all the videos on TikTok of people going to the bins and all of the alcohol that everybody had been drinking. Okay. I don't think that they drank the whole year. What are they doing with that time? I don't know. I often come to a point like, because I don't have to drive anymore to work, it really frees my day up. And so I will go and I will work out, and then I'm usually done and finished eating and showered and everything by 7 o'clock. So I got like 2 hours to do whatever I want. And I don't always know what to do with those 2 hours. Not that I don't have like a list of things to do or I'm not motivated. I certainly do, but in the evening, you don't necessarily have the energy for that stuff. You know what I mean? Like for me to do like a really dedicated study, that's like really, that's really difficult to do, right? You liked that interview? Thank you. We should go and check. I want to know how many. By the way, did you guys get your yellow jackets? Did you go to his website and do the free yellow jacket course? Because if you didn't, I'm not sure I can let you trade today. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was industry level stuff that I kind of knew. But so if you haven't taken it yet, when you take it seriously. Like when you're reading through this stuff and you see things, there's going to be a test on that. I need to write that down. Because the test is not easy. Like I'll tell you right now, the test for the yellow jacket course is not easy. So I took it and I took notes and I memorized the product codes. Product codes is the one that's going to screw you up. Probably the most, that and the difference between contango and backwardation. But they were hard questions, and so I told Gary that I really liked the course. Like the software is just so good, and the test test thing is pretty good. So I got 100%. I aced it. So I told Gary, I aced the course, and he said, "You're the only person to get 100% so far." Yes. Wait, I can prove it. In fact, I'll prove it. Where is it? Oh. It's right there. Certificate of completion score 100%. Huh? So now all you guys, you didn't take it yet, did you? You didn't take it yet. You better go and get 100% now. I want all of the people in my stream, take it serious. Take all of the things that I taught you in the strategy development series. take some notes, get 100% on that test. There's like 1 or 2 trick questions. Have you thought about doing a yellow jacket test prep video? You don't have to give away the test, but you could guide them through how to prepare for the test. I mean, not really. This course does this. I think they do the best job that you could on that. So let me show you something else. So if you come in here, so here's the course. Okay. So the yellow jacket course is free. So even though it's information that I bet most of the people here in this channel at least will know, I think it's a really good thing to go in and take this test and take it seriously and get 100% on it. All right. Because this is like, if Gary had his way, you wouldn't be able to trade without doing this course first. Right. But when you come in here, you can click on the course and it shows you the course content. See? What's a DOM, time and sales, how to trade, thick and thin, right? This course is pretty basic. This one, this 295 course, is basically like, if you've never traded and you've never traded with the DOM before, then this would be, that's what this one is for. But most of us, most of you guys would probably be better off with the silver or red jacket. And the red jacket is basically like the silver course, but with like more detailed information and like videos and stuff. Right? So I'll just click on the red jacket one. When you come down here, it shows you what's in the course, right? Only the DOM, watch lists, and do your due diligence. And then he talks about entry, importance of queue position, importance of a quick fill, how we determine value, application in different types of markets, exit rules. That's one that I would really like to know how Nort Gary decides to exit. Improvements, pre-market preparation, purposeful practice. So that's what's in the course, right? So you get a pretty good idea of what's in the course. So I read through the course, and there's some stuff in, like, I've been writing down into kind of like a book format that I want to put out at some point. I just don't have enough time to work on it, really. I would really need to, have like free days to do it, because it's a lot. I'm really trying to put in information that's like verifiable and everything. So it's a lot of research and a lot of information to compile. Like, I really think that I finish this book and put it out, that it'll be like a textbook like that. And but it's completely different information from what Gary's talking about. So if I was going to do a course, that's what I do. Did you get access to all courses? No. Nope. I just did the Yellow Jacket course. I mean, if he wanted to give it to me so that I could review it or something like that, then I'd be willing to do that. But based on what I see that's in there, I'm not convinced that, for me at least, that it would be worth the $3,000 to get the Red Jacket course. At least not right now. Maybe if I was bringing in a lot more money from it, I could justify it. But yeah, it's really whether a course like that is worth it to you or not is going to depend a lot on the type of trading that you do now and the type of trading that you want to do, and how much capital you have available to work with. Like for a NASDAQ trader, he has a pretty big account from what I can see, or at least what he showed us the other day. They're a pretty big account. He's had some success in his life through something else. And 3K is my yearly income. Is it really? Oh, it's demo. Maybe. Okay. Maybe it's not a good pick for you then. I was gonna say, if you're somebody that can fund like $100,000 account, then you should absolutely do it. If you can fund it, if you're brand new and you're looking like, okay, I'm brand new and I'm willing to put $10,000 into becoming a futures trader, and I'm going to spend $1,000 on software, and I'm going to spend $3,000 on education, and then I'm going to trade the rest to $6,000, right? Then I think that really makes sense. And I think that in Gary Norton's course, it looks like he's talking about things that took me a couple of years to kind of really refine and figure out. So are you saving yourself time and money from taking the course? Like if you were going to trade $1,000 each year and lose $1,000 for 3 years in a row, and then the course is worth it, right? I still have a hard time understanding what you can learn from Gary that you can't learn on your own. What we have on our DOM is what we have to work with. Nothing anyone can teach you changes that. Okay, so I have a good point, Uzi, and here's what I would say about that. From my understanding of the course, but understand I don't have the red course, so I only know so much. But from talking to him after the interview and from things that some of his other students have told me, I have a pretty good idea of what the edge comes from. And what I would say is that what Gary does is he is pointing out a trait to you that most of us tend to disregard. Like it's something that you're kind of seeing there in the back of your mind, but you always dismiss it as like, oh, it'd be too hard or too risky for me to get or something like that. And, like these little inefficiencies here and there is really, they're market making, right? And then he goes through, when you're doing that, all of the fine little details about doing that when you're doing it on your own, you're not going to be sure about, right? Like, when should I try and let it ride? And I believe, and I don't know what his answer to that is, but he has ways of like quantifying it to you that like, that like what he talks about, it's not just like, well, this is what kind of works for me and whatever. You can tell from the logic of the trade and how it's set up that there's edge in it, right? And so even though it might be something that you're already doing, you might not understand why there's the edge in that. So it becomes beneficial for that reason. So for somebody like you, Uzi, there's going to be, probably what's going to happen if you took that course is there's going to be a number of little things that you never really thought about and go, oh, and it might not even seem significant when you read it, but it can just be those teeny tiny little details, they can make all the difference in the world. Now, that's part of why futures trading takes so long to get good at, because there's a lot of tiny details that you have to refine. So that's what I would say. That's how I would explain it to that. And to the point, because when his first course on Jigsaw came out, there was a lot of people that said that they didn't think there was enough content in there to justify the price. Well, it kind of really comes down to certain pieces of information can be really valuable, and when you're first reading it through and you're starting out, especially, you might not realize the significance of some of the things they say. Like it seems like so duh, but because you're never thinking or focusing about it, you don't realize how big of a difference those things can make to your trading. Right? I believe risk versus reward is the key. Well, so I really like Gary's approach to risk reward, because he says that equal risk reward, I think that you can improve more quickly if you're using equal risk reward, because when you have skewed risk rewards, whether it is a reward ratio under 1, which I think has really big problems, or you're using a really high swing ratio, it kind of hides the reality of the performance. It presents the data to you in a way that your human brain can't really grasp. And so you might not realize on an individual trade that what you're doing is a bad idea. You're not going to figure that out until you've been doing it for like 100 trades. And even then it's going to be like, okay, like where are the problems actually at? Whereas if you're doing equal risk reward and you're going for a high win rate, you're going to get a pretty good idea within one session about where you're going wrong and what you need to fix. It seems to me that retail trading has stages. It starts with looking for patterns and it ends with all the patterns are meaningless, and we get to a point where we keep searching for confirmation of that and paying big money for that confirmation. Well, when I look at the retail trading world and where people are digging, because like the thing is, I can't necessarily just hand you edge, but what I can do is I can give you a shovel and I can show you where the rabbit hole starts, and we can dig together, right? I think that the problem is that there's this branch of the rabbit hole which is single instrument price analysis, and everybody is digging in that one corridor. And there was never really anything there to begin with. And the little bit that was there, people have already picked up and mined all that gold out. Right? And once you understand how the market behaves, the inelastic nature of markets, and how orders move price, and how the liquidity matters to how much orders move price, and those sorts of things, all of a sudden it becomes clear that, price is too noisy. Like me trying to pick some greater truth about what the market wants to do or is headed based on the theory that I can see in the price what other traders are doing is ridiculous. There's too much noise. There's too much noise to see it because of, one, there are moves that have no information in them, and then two, how much price moves changes, right? So there's just too much, and the amount that changes is further than sometimes the information that they actually have, right? So there's too much noise. So everybody's trying to analyze price. So I would say stop analyzing price. Like for one thing, if you have an edge that is like, if you can logically sit down and work out why new orders should come in the future because of this certain situation, that's the best. That's the best thing, is if you can predict new orders, right? But, you want to be able to use what you see here as well, right? So if you're using what you see here, I think that there's two ways of doing it. One way is using lots of instruments, okay? You should know all of the different instruments, what their relationships between each other are, what the correlations tend to be, and what kind of macro situations those correlations change. And then you can go in and you can say, this is the current macro situation. Here are the correlations that I should expect to see. And here's what I'm seeing right now. And if you see those two instruments diverge from the correlations that you expect to see, you may potentially have a trade. And that is basically like arbitrage, right? The other way of going about it is watching the order flow. And you would want to watch the order flow of the market as a whole, again, but you want to look at market orders, market buy orders, market sell orders, limit buy orders adding, limit buy orders pulling, limit sell orders adding, limit sell orders pulling. So 6 flows. And you want to watch the metrics on those 6 flows and keep an eye on order clustering. Okay. So orders tend to cluster. So you can potentially sometimes pick up situations where the market is getting a flow and there's a little bit of a disruption in the flow, and you can kind of sneak in. And that is what I believe most quant trading firms are doing, is they're analyzing the order flow and they're taking advantage of statistical aberrations in the order flow. So again, if orders move price, theoretically, you should be able to get a cleaner signal from watching the order flows, right? All of that noise that you get on price, of course, there's still going to be a lot of noise, but a lot of it is removed when you're just watching the orders. So if I was going to be going out and digging, that's where I would go and look. But the whole point of that is that I think that the problem is that everybody is so obsessed with price. Because as far as I can tell, price doesn't mean a thing. I wish futures would allow market maker names on block orders like in stocks. Yeah, well, the way that they make the market in stocks is a little bit different, but I think that the market would benefit from transparency in who you're transacting with. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of things about the market. It really seems to me, I mean, I think that the market is fairly good, but there's things going on in this market that I just don't think should be allowed. Selling client order flow, they shouldn't be allowed to do that for sure. That one is just crazy to me that that's allowed. Dark pools, nah. I think that all transaction, they especially in stocks, we have this archaic system where there's so many different ways to trade the stock and everything. I think that it should all have to be done on the exchange. Shouldn't, if you go and you list on one of those exchanges, you can transact that stock on those exchanges, and that's like the only way. I think. I don't think that you should be able to put it somewhere else so that you can potentially try and hide it from the rest of the market. I don't think that that's okay. I don't think it's as big of a deal. I don't think that that's what's preventing retail traders. A lot of retail traders are like, well, X strategy, it doesn't work, and the reason you're losing money is because of dark pools. I don't think that that's the case because, there has to be a buyer and a seller in that dark pool transaction. So I don't think that that's why you're losing, but I think that just philosophically that everybody should be able to see every transaction. And then to that point, when you were in the pit, you knew who you were transacting with. And that made the landscape very different from what it is here on the internet. And I think that change, that one particular change, puts the locals at a significant disadvantage compared to what they were in the pits. Record a week or 14 days of your DOM and play it. Well, you can go on this YouTube and every day go and pull them out. I do go back and watch them in fast speed or in edit them up in DaVinci Resolve from time to time. There's a way to scalp order flow in extreme volatility, but too strong to share a worldwide net. Maybe, yeah, I'd love to see that. I have found that I can find very much so inefficiencies during those extreme volatilities. Like some of those times when I've been trying the one ticker, as long as I understand what the trend is, like that news is creating a trend, I can come in there and just take a quick tick out over and over again, and it's really effective. It's like when things start moving, it's more difficult for the arbitragers to keep things in line, and nobody cares about it. And the arbitragers are, like kind of avoid taking trades in those situations. So it kind of gives you, the retail trader, room to come in and take advantage of it with your discretion, with your discretionary advantage. I got 2 questions wrong, both about margin. You mean the ones that were like how much margin would be required to trade this kind of contract and so forth? It was a hard test. It was really a seriously hard test. And he told me that the other courses, that the silver and red tests were even harder. He said the silver and red tests were designed that like most people should not pass it their first time. Well, I tell you what, the market has been awfully quiet this first hour. I thought that the unemployment claims would have had a larger impact than that, even though they were in line. But it doesn't look like the market is trading off of that. Well, I guess they had a little bit of a move up in the treasuries. But we'll see what happens when the E-mini opens, I guess. But I'm wondering if the E-mini will just kind of be aimless like it has been the last 2 or 3 days. No, you know what? I was going through that whole thing about where to find edge and everything, and we were talking very much about like trying to find technical edges, but there's another part to that I missed out on at the very end. And the other part of that is this: the market is very technically efficient, but it is not really very macro informationally efficient. So I think that as a retail trader, you're probably more likely to find edge in doing position swings based on macro themes. So there can be situations where the markets can get very far away from where they should really be valued based on macros. And there are situations where you can predict large flows pretty reliably. And you would really want to swing those to really fully get those trades. But I've been having a decent amount of success just from doing that. And that's just from knowing what's going on and speculating. Gross said, bonds are junk now and rates have only one way to go. No CL bidding up. Oh yeah, oil has been on a pretty good run this morning. Oil, the top performer so far. And it looks like the E-mini is going to buy too. Like that's I'll take the risk on that. Tick strike, then you can hear a lot of noise in the background. It's almost like standing in the pit. You know what? So there is a real advantage to audio notifications. You can react faster and more accurately to sounds because like think about it. You're on a video screen, you're watching 60, 100 frames per second. For my monitor, 144 frames per second, right? Samples per second that my eyes can maybe see. Audio, it's like 48,000, right? So your ears are more sensitive to that sort of stuff. So I did this in a game, a fighting game, and there's like these moves where you have to be like frame accurate, and if you can use sound to learn the timing rather than visuals to learn the timing, you can get more accurate. But here in the stock market with like the clicks and stuff, it's of questionable utility. The issue, it turns into how often is it actually happening and how significant is the thing that you're seeing. So here I have the tick sound for when significant orders are being added or removed, large limit orders. That's really useful because that's something that's really hard for you to see sometimes in the E-mini, right? But some people want to just like hear like the noise of the overall market. I think it would be really cool to get something that is really like a really good audioization of that, but I'm not sure how much it would really help your trading. Be fun though. It sure would be fun. E-mini's still looking pretty good, but it's still pretty constrained. RTY not paying attention. Well, yeah, it looks like RTY is lagging just a slight bit. All of them are pretty lackluster. The treasuries are the underperformers today. Well, maybe they're going to turn down now. It looks like activity wise that silver is still one of the high activity areas. So today silver giving up a lot of its gains from yesterday, down spot 72%, but over like 3 times the relative volume. I'm also seeing the 5-year and the 30-year have a lot of activity volume, relatively speaking, which is kind of weird. Also, copper's doing something too. Is the whole metals complex going down, or is it just no? It's just silver, and gold is not following silver. The other questions were okay. I just don't care about margins to learn how they are calculated. I think it's one of those things though that like someday you'll appreciate it. Someday you'll appreciate it. Or what they're based on. Well, he didn't even go into how they calculate the span margins, which is, I think, a really interesting subject in and of itself. Whoa, Woozy sent me this link just now that is crazy. What? Australia's federal government plans to de-anonymize the internet by introducing a social credit system using the notion of combating online abuse. Police will have access to individual social media accounts, which will be linked to digital passports. Oh my gosh. Nah, it's just ruin it. You know what? Like, here's the thing. I think that some parts of the internet should be linked to you, and there should be parts that are anonymous. There should be websites like 4chan, and there should be websites like Facebook. You know? But it seems to me that there are some people that are very upset that they have absolutely no control over what you do online. I have to go out on Reddit and see if I find anything more about that, because and see what people are saying about it. If I just search social credit on Reddit, posts from the past 24 hours. Okay, so in r/Australia_, there's a post with 4 comments. That's it. Okay, well, the E-minis is still looking okay. Like, they had a move, they came back to the open. It's still clicking a lot. Treasuries look under pressure. Yeah. So they're posting the same link that you just gave me. And everybody's saying, do you have a more authoritative source? So maybe we should wait on that one. Maybe we need to hear it from a more authoritative source. I'm sure Zero Hedge will post about it, even if it's not authoritative. I need to do something about this mat. This mat that I have, it's got like the edges of it are like sewn thread. And I think that the mat is just wearing out, and it's starting to like, I don't know, like I feel like I got a micro cut on my wrist. Okay, so now this is interesting here. You can kind of see how the yield moved. So the 10-year and 30-year moved up a little bit more than the 5. And ergo, we're getting a little bit of steepening. What is it going to take for that 2-year to move? What do you think? Because that was the whole thing about the micro treasury futures that I thought would be interesting, is that because it was based on yields, you should get some situations where the 2-year will move more than the 10-year, and it just hasn't been happening yet. The Wall Street Journal tweets Bitcoin's price is stuck at 50K amid a flow of traders and companies moving to other parts of the crypto market. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. The larger public interest in Bitcoin has died out. Like the people that are interested in Bitcoin are interested in it, and everybody else is like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. And so instead what's happening is the Bitcoiners are now moving their money around within the Bitcoin ecosystem into some parts that I think are really sketchy, frankly, like NFTs. It's like, okay, go and put your money in an NFT for 5 years and see what happens. It's not a very efficient allocation of capital, right? That was a pretty aggressive downtick there. You're in ADA. And the whole thing is just kind of, it's the NFTs in particular that I think is really dumb. Like, it's a JPEG attached to a hash. That's worth nothing. What are you gonna do with it? Like art, okay, like you can put it on your wall. It looks nice. People want to have things on their walls, right? What do you do with the NFT? It just sits on your computer. It's not worth anything. Collectible value, this idea that like, oh, in 10 years from now those are going to be so valuable, I think is so ridiculous. I mean, maybe it's the case, but if they're really valuable 10 years from now, I'm still going to say it's a waste of your money. Okay, there we finally got filled. I could let that run, but that's all the risk that I'm not expecting like some huge monster move in the treasury. So for me to have gotten my 4 points and never had any adverse ticks against me is just fine by me. Good for money laundering. Yeah, I'm sure that's part of what's happening. But I'm also sure, here's what happens is you go and well, we've talked about this so many times. You guys know, right? You go and you sell the NFT to yourself, and then you have this huge transaction on the ledger that attracts all of this attention. And the objective is not even necessarily to attract somebody even bigger for your NFT. Although that is probably happening in some instances. No. What the objective is to attract more people into trying to make NFTs, because you have to pay a certain amount of gas and fees and things like that to even create the NFTs. And they did some studies on it. The last time around, I saw a couple of journalists doing an analysis on it, and they determined that the majority of the artists that tried to do the NFT thing lost money on it. So that's what you do, is you're just trying to attract as many people as possible so that you can come in and make money off of the fees. So yeah, I think it's a complete racket. Iceberg at 17. Now that's interesting that I went and I got my fill, and the Yemeni is still come back here. Wonder if Ace is still there. Trying to take, probably he took his profit and then went to get the kids ready. I would think that you'd still be trying to go along, but I'm just kind of questioning like if it's worth the time risk. It says yep, exactly. Yeah. I feel like we could probably get another 2 to 4 points, but I think that you would probably have to wait a while and that it would be a little bit too much drama. So I kind of wonder if it's worth it. NQ is stuck in the middle. Well, and when NQ is stuck, then you really know that, right? The treasury moved down another tick, though. I mean, there's that. There could be more to come in the treasury. So the thing I'm seeing here in the treasury, I'll just point out 2 things. One, liquidity is pretty good. They're in the 4,500s, which is slightly above normal. And the relative volume that they've traded today in the 5-year in particular is very high. What would you consider a large account? I don't know. Well, to me, all futures or trading accounts are large. To me, But when people get into 100,000, I feel like you're kind of in a different tier. Like the kind of strategies and things that you can do with that amount of money are very different. Hey, that was a pretty good move right there. I guess it would have been worth it after all, huh? We had taken that and gone long right when we were talking about it. They wouldn't have been in there for very long at all. So now in the treasury here, the question is, you're still going to get these icebergs, right? Because there was I would think that iceberg might just be hedging and so forth. So I don't know if we should read too much into it. But it's kind of been holding them back in the 10-year a little bit. Can't cry about money you didn't make. No, we can't. I think it's something that we should think about, though, right? Like I think with me, especially if I'm trying to like do market making scalping kinds of things, like over here in the 10-year, if I'm going to take one tick, or let's say maybe I'm only going to take 1 point in the E-mini. The critical question is going to be, when do you take it? Is there like the activity and the imbalance in situation for you to get the move that you want? I think that's where I often will have problems, is like I'll be trying to trade something in the E-mini and I'll just get screwed over and over and over again. So in that situation where we were saying, okay, it seems a little stuck in the mud, I don't know if it's worth it, and it ended up popping off anyways, I think is something that's worth thinking about to try and determine if the read on, is it worth taking a trade right here at this moment is really correct or not. How large is your screen? These are 27 inches. Or it says 17. I forget. They're standard. I mean, they're large, but they're standard sizes. Not super huge ones. And I have to say, so like an equivalent for me would be that new Samsung Odyssey G9 or whatever. That would be the same equivalent screen as what I've got with 3 screens. It is a lot of desk space. Like, it is really like when you come into the room, it's like, whoa. Like everybody that comes to our house is like, what are you doing in there? Because it's just so dominating in the room. It's almost too big. Don't be jealous, but I do have that currently 49 inches of pleasure. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm only showing you one screen. I don't think I personally would go for the Odyssey, just because I like being able to separate it into 3 spots and move them around and stuff. Okay, so it looks like the treasuries decided that they didn't want to go after the 16.5 for now, so. The way you have this laid out is just amazing. How, I mean, it's just a bunch of DOMs, right? And then the dollar. I wish I could see the dollar. I don't notice what's going on the dollar very well. The dollar's been getting creamed, though. The dollar's getting creamed, and the Japanese yen is taking a slight move up, and that might be part of why the treasuries are having a hard time moving down. You have the Samsung G9. I mean, when it came out, I was really tempted, but I like the biggest issue that I have is this camera. So the screen, for the camera to come over the screen, I move the screen down, and the screen is lower than you would typically want, right? Because you notice when I'm looking over here, I'm looking down versus over here. So that's also a big reason why I don't think that the full monitor thing would be very appropriate for me. I think your 3 screens is more real. Yeah, it is. There's been times where I was like, I would like to fit more in, but I've been able to sort it out. I could put another screen up here that's over top of the other one. But, you know, they have the lights and the camera and everything. It's kind of... Unless I was going to, like, put the camera behind me, but then you couldn't see my face and interact with me. It wouldn't be any fun. I think it's kind of weird or even creepy when people, like, don't want to show their face. They're streaming and you can't see their face. I've been tempted to stack two of them, yeah. But one thing that I do think I want to do is, like, get other monitor arms. So I have one of those triple monitor arm holders, and I think that I want to get just 3 separate monitor arms so that I can put these other arms further out and I can push these monitors off to the side more. Because I would like to sometimes fit the speakers in between the monitors, or have the speakers like right on the side of this monitor, you know, so that they're not, sound isn't getting blocked by the monitors themselves. To do that, I would have to move the monitors really far away, and this arm doesn't allow me to move them far enough. I need something that's like, you know, it has those arms, and then there would be other arms that I could fit with the studio speakers. Could use a soundbar. Oh, I do it for when I'm producing music. You can't really, you can see one of them. I have a bass trap up there, but I have bass traps in all these corners and stuff. So I have a pretty well treated room, but you don't actually get the right sound profile because of the monitors being in the way. So it kind of almost defeats the point. Well, it really changes the sound of the coming out of the microphone, but yeah, I could do it. The other issue though with all of that is that, like, I would need to probably need to drill into this table, and this is not a table that you can drill into. It's like one of those honeycomb sorts of things. I hate it when it does that. If my other machine turns on, my USB switch wants to switch over to it. Well, the treasure came back to 18. Notice though that the micro yields didn't move as much. E-mini's turning down now. It's kind of starting to look like they peaked early over there. I think the second best thing for trading is a soundproof headset. I mean, I don't have too much of a problem with noise right now. Even though the kids have been around, I haven't been hearing them. Like, one of the things was, you know, I was saving up and I wanted to buy like curtains or something so I could block the outside noise and deaden the room even more. And I could get them, but now I just don't really see the need for it. So that happens to me so much. The other thing that was bothering me was, because I have the teleprompter now, I can't see the screen from my camera. So I was thinking I should get an external monitor, you know, and there's one that's Blackmagic makes that it's not just an external monitor, but you can also plug the sound into it and everything, and that does the recording for you. So I wouldn't have to sync my sound up. But then I think about it and I'm like, yeah, but is that really worth $900 to me? I don't think it is. I think I do just fine with what I got right now. And the big thing on my mind right now is that I need to change the videos up so that they're more engaging. And that's the thing that will help the channel the most. And I don't necessarily need to put money into that. I just need to think it through a little bit more to where I can have little segues and stuff where I can show you something so that you can actually edit it into something interesting, you know? Man, is New York still flooded? Is still getting crazy flooded right now? Did you think beforehand that today is a non-directional day? How would you do that? Yes. So because the non-farms payroll tomorrow is such a dominating factor, I think that you kind of had to come into today with the thought that if the jobless claims number is not a huge deviation from the expectation, that the S&P 500 might have difficulty finding direction today. Richard says start showing live. Well, I'm in a live trade right now, but I don't actually like talking about my live trades, to be honest with you, because I don't want people to try and follow them. They're my trades. Go find your own trades. No, you can see it. Do you see it? I'll show you. So you see this little column right here? Oops. That's what tells you that I'm in a position. No one would follow. I've had a couple of situations. There was a day last week. I haven't been seeing it since then, so maybe it was just a coincidence. But there was this one day where I was talking on the stream and I was like, well, I think I want to do X thing in the micros, in the micro yields. And as soon as I started saying stuff and you know, putting my mouse over it, I could see other people putting orders down. And there was like a 200 lot and a few 5 lots and stuff that showed up. I was like, guys. We could talk about them the next day if you don't want Fox copying them. Well, the bigger thing that I'm trying to get across to you, Richard, is that the way to get better at trading is to learn how to analyze the market for what it really is and find your own trades in that. That involves developing a couple of skills beyond just looking at the price chart, right? That's why I teach you guys all this. That's why I have all those videos about programming and stuff, so that you can kind of start to do that kind of investigation on your own. But you don't, if too many people take a trade, then it can ruin the signal. Oh, I'm not saying as a means of teaching, I'm talking about for channel growth. Oh, I get you. I get what you're saying. You're saying like go in afterwards and analyze the trade, and it might help. I don't know. One of the other things is that I don't like to try and hold myself up as like this paragon example, you know, because sometimes I make really awful calls. I really do sometimes. Like I don't want to give people the impression that I think I have it all figured out, you know. It's always difficult. Trading's always difficult. But no, I hold on. I really think that what it comes down to is engagement. I've been watching a couple of videos about this, and people were like, this guy, he went and he looked at Graham. You guys familiar with Graham Stephan? So he went and looked at one of Graham Stephan's first videos, and he was talking about, here are some tips about when you're showing the house off. You should turn off all of the lights, or you should turn on all of the lights, because turning on the lights can make it look better. And he went through it and he was like, okay, so look, he's making the same point that you should turn the lights on, and he says it like 4 different ways. So he cut all of that out. He had to say it only one way, and then he was able to splice in images of like B-roll film, changing the way that he kind of said it. And that's the thing that I've had a couple of videos where I've kind of experimented with that sort of a stuff, but I didn't really get into it because it's work. It's extra work, you know, and it takes more time, and often I'm just looking to get the video out, you know. But so I've been thinking, you know, I need to go into when I'm doing the scripts, and I need to add more artistic flavor to it. Like I have these scripts and it's like the information, but I need to have more points in there that are like, okay, here's a point, and then here's a joke about that point, and here's a story about that point. People really like stories. I think I do not leverage stories enough, because whenever I try to tell a story on TikTok, those do better, right? That's what I really think I need to do on the channel. And it's a really hard thing because it's not so easy. It's like, oh, well, just do this, talk about X or do Y. It's a very complicated process. This is a lot like trading. This is like getting better at trading. It's a really hard because there's so many moving parts to it. But you know what? I'm not going to put a video out on Monday because of the holiday. So that gives me 2 weeks to think about the next video. I'm not sure which one I should really do. If I could convince Ace to come up, we could do the greatest live video. Maybe. So there's 3 videos that are like at the top of my mind right now. One video is I want to make a video talking about the morning schedule. Well, not just the morning schedule, but just like the daily routine facet of it. I think that would be interesting to some people, and I could make that I could video that and make that interesting. Be a lot of work, but I think that we could be artistic with that. The other one is the greatest lie in day trading, which is all you have to do to make money is follow me. That's the greatest lie in day trading, I think. And for that one, I want to make a bunch of like parodies of gurus out there that I don't think are very good. So that one would be fun. And then the other one that I want to make more informational is day trading for you? So actually, let me do a poll. Let's see what you guys think. Huh? What video should Seth do next? Daily routine video. Is day trading for you? I'll add an option. Don't be a follower. / greatest lie in trading. No, I'll just say don't be a follower. This will be the video. And is that all? Is that all that I want? Hey, the Treasury's made a pretty good excursion there on that last move. Oh yeah, we should add the Nirvana one on there. Day trading Nirvana market. Some of you guys might not all remember what day trading Nirvana is. Model of markets. I'll do it like that. Ask your community. You got another 2 points on that, Ace? Oh, you went short. Good job. Did it show up? Okay, there you go. Now you should see the poll. Which video would you guys like to see? Those are all 3 ones that I think I could try and spice up. I got 2 weeks to do. You need a nano. Do you have an alternate suggestion for a video topic that you think I should do, Ace? Happy Salguero, in regards to mindset and scalping, how do you prepare yourself for that sort of mental workout? Okay, so that's actually a good question. Adderall. No. So for me, Adderall is a big part of it, right? But also for me, I think that there's two parts to this. One is that I really truly enjoy doing this, right? Like if I was not waking up every day and coming and streaming for you guys and trading at 6:30 in the morning, and I moved back to waking up at 8 o'clock and then being, ready and working by 9:30 or whatever, I would probably be depressed. I would probably go into deep depression doing that, because it is just, I would not be doing the thing that I enjoy and that I feel like I'm on this earth to be doing. And so that having, when I wake up, I'm excited to wake up and see what's going to happen. And so that is a big factor. Is staying focused is, if you're interested in it, is so much easier to be focused, right? The second part of it, though, is that really everything that I do is geared towards supporting my trading, right? I do my day job so that I don't have to worry about supporting my family. I don't have to worry about if I trade well or I don't trade well. That's going to, I could be out of a home if I don't trade well, right? Have a day job. When I'm done with the day job, I work out, lifting heavy weights, really getting the blood flowing to keep your body healthy, because the stronger your body is, the stronger your mental health is going to be. And people that exercise late into their older years, they maintain their mental acuity a lot better. Okay. I eat a lot of the things about what I eat and everything. I make sure that I get a lot of magnesium in my supplements, because that's something that your brain needs. Omega-3 oils like fish oil, because that's something that your brain really uses. And creatine, because creatine improves your mental stamina. It allows you to focus for longer. And then after the workout and the eating, I try and do something relatively relaxing. Sometimes I will do, I'll try getting into a project or something. I'll read a book, or I'll practice learning a language. But a lot of the time, I'm just either doing the thing with the family or just watching something on Netflix. You won't want to be relaxed. And I go to bed very, very early. I try to start going to bed at 9, and then you wake up, right? That's all geared towards the trading. So if I'm getting enough, I'm letting off the stress in the evening, and I'm taking care of my body and everything else like that. And then what that does is that allows me that when I'm trading now, all I have to worry about is trading and talking to you guys on stream. And so I would say that's how I do it. What I see a lot of new traders do is they'll come in and they just want to be thinking about trading all the time. And it's just, I'm going to stay up 24/7 and I'm just going to trade as much as I possibly can. And because, you're going to burn out very quickly doing that. It's the wrong way of going about getting good at trading. They take on too much stress. They don't take care of themselves. They don't have other things going on in their lives. They don't have this social support, and so they burn out or blow out. Ace says that I need to burn the boats and let the day job go. No way. It is not realistic at all for me to live purely off of my trading with the amount of capital that I have to work with right now. Not even. If I had like $100,000, then maybe I could give that a go. But I really think that you're generally, the thing is that Ace, you do it too, right? Because your wife works, right? I really think that you're better off having another source of income besides your trading. It's a lot of stress if your whole livelihood depends on your trading. My wife works as well. Yes, but I think your wife makes a lot more than my wife does. It kind of sucks in some situations. So we were looking at, should we get like a daycare for Asher in some situations? And like the amount of money that you would spend on daycare for Asher would cancel out what she would be making from working. You think it does? That mean it's true? I'm pretty sure you told me enough that I had a pretty good idea that your wife did pretty well. Criteria: have a working wife plus a side gig. I mean, I think so. I really think that it's stressful. Like if you have a 6-digit account and you're taking big trades, and then it kind of changes the calculus, right? But for what we're doing, like scalping individual micro contracts, yeah, I don't know, that's not no, but you said something about what she did. You're right. Maybe I'm making too much of an assumption. I was under the impression that she had something more than just that was somewhat of a how do I put it? She wasn't just a grunt where she worked. It was the impression that she gave me. Oh, be nice. Oh, we've been working with NASDAQ Trader and trying to get along with them, and we've been going okay. so don't let him get under your skin. I can't remember which country, but every child you have up to 4 children is 25% off on federal tax per child. And if you have 4 children, you don't pay any tax. Really? That's interesting. The government keeps giving me these checks for having kids, and I'm like, no, I don't. When I started a 529 account for them. Oh, I need to follow up on that because Melissa's ex, my wife's ex, had an account set up for them, and I think that he put the birthday on one of the kids wrong. So when I tried to create an account for the kid, it wouldn't let me because it says the birthday was wrong. So I couldn't finish setting it all up. Well, I'm kind of looking at this here, and it's like, it's kind of lackluster action. I'm thinking about what yesterday I regretted not taking them off where I had the chance. So I will provide some liquidity here and tighten the spread a little bit. Burn the boats. I wouldn't mind doing like radical things, but also be responsible still. There we go. Good job. Good trade, Seth. Good trade. All I'm saying is that if you want those around you to tolerate, you should listen to them to try it goes for all of us. Okay, so I think you're right, Ace. But here's what I'm noticing about him. He's a NASDAQ trader, or Salim, has a unique mind. Like, he keeps coming in saying, sometimes I just get really angry for some reason, but and sometimes he really will just be trying to like get under my skin, but then other times he shows really good insight and asks really good questions, and he very clearly understands what I've been saying and is following it. So the question for us, I think, is how do we best help him? So I don't completely understand. Like, I get these little hints about what he's like here and there, but I can't like pathologize it. You know what I mean? I wish I could say, well, he's a psychopath and yada yada. It's not that. So, or maybe he's autistic, but I don't think it's that simple. You know what I mean? I'm not here to fix all the broken toys. Well, I think that the value that we have is we can make everybody around us better. That's why the stream is valuable, and I think that we have made him better. He's been interacting with the stream a lot better past 2 months or so, and he's contributed some stuff. Like, we're all make better. So the question is, how do we help him the most? And the one thing that sticks out in my mind is that he does seem to have a bit of a temper. NASDAQ Trader says I'm 100% autistic. Okay, so I should go and look into that about like autism and anger, if that's a thing. So I'm just kind of thinking, you think about it too. What are the most effective ways for us to tell him when he's kind of overstepping the boundaries? Because I think that when you do it that way, you kind of trigger him and make him angry, and I did that too. I did that too a lot. Well, what was it that he said that got you guys arguing? The way Ace speaks really makes you want to troll a bit. Okay. What is it? Nunyo? Oh yeah, what is a nunyo? I don't know what you're saying. The thing is I think he likes you. I think he likes you and he wants your attention, but you're not giving him the positive attention that he craves. I like the way I call out trades in advance. Well, okay. So here we should do this experiment. You don't have to do it on a live account, but let's see you do it on the NQ. You do the NQ, and you two do, and let's see how they work out. If the way that you've been doing it is okay on the NQ. You've done it before on the NQ, haven't you? I remember at least one day where you were doing it with the NQ, but because he likes to do CNQ. Since I'm new to your channel, do you trade the indices YMESNQ? Yeah, so over here on the side, it's kind of like desaturated, but you can see this one is ES, this one is MES, and then NQ and YM. So I don't place orders in NQ and YM. I just have them in the background there so that I can see when they're moving up or down. Because the idea is, generally speaking, you're trying to find potential inefficiencies. So Sure, but the NQ is suicide. So it does look like I could have gotten a little bit more there in the treasury. So I got out at 309. Could maybe have gotten 2 more points on it. That's okay. Yeah, like, so yesterday I had a trade that was like up almost 20, and then it came all the way back, and I think I took a little loss on that, and then I took it the other way, and it went pretty far the other way too. And I let it come back. So I think yesterday in net I lost $1. So here, when I saw it, it was like, okay, make 11, and then minus $1 for the commission. Okay, but I really kind of want to hold it. I really would prefer to be. Here's the thing: I would really prefer to have a long trade from 30 going into non-farms. Like I suspect that what my scenario for non-farms right now is that the non-farms payroll is going to come in line, and that yields are going to increase substantially. That's my scenario. That's my preferred scenario right now. So for a swing trade, I would very much rather have a long from below 1.3 with some profit baked into it going into the news. But I know today it's been slow, and the probability of them potentially reverting back up might be a little high. There is some pretty good strong bids that have kind of it's been a real slog coming down through here and everything. So that's why I was like, okay, I guess I better take my profits and, learn my lesson from yesterday. But it, sometimes it's just different anyways. But since I don't have a really clear, direct reason that we should see a lot more order flow come into the treasury, I'm not going to take the risk. I do see though, like with the way that the book is behaving and everything, that we could have a pretty decent move down today. So that, I don't know if you guys cared so much to hear about that thinking, but I feel like I got out. It went a further tick. Why did I do that? Well, I think it's okay in this instance, but we'll see. If this ends up being a trend day, then obviously it's going to be you took the short and it went down, huh? Oh, short 15,626. And you got 16 there? Why am I shooting the moon? It always goes my way. It's like I control the market. I'm starting to wonder, Ace. I do have a theory. I'm not saying that I believe this theory, but I have a theory. I have a theory that you can season an account. So what I mean by that is, like, maybe the market makers have some way to see that it's you. People keep saying that they do, and then when I go and I investigate all of the documentation at the NASDAQ and everything, it says that they don't. But I do remember when I was at Goldman, there was somebody, they were looking at a very specific thing that was proprietary, and somebody else was taking a trade at the same time, and so they were noticing that. But how would they know that they were the same person? I don't think that they did. But it seems to me that if they did know that you could season an account, that they could go in and they could say, oh, this user is a really good speculator. They tend to know which way it's going. And so if they take a trade, we might want to heed it. And so there could be a situation where that could set up a situation where when you take a trade, it ends up having an outsized effect and pushes it your way, They can see a lot more than you imagine. I'm sure they can. But how would they know that it's Ace's, because I don't think that the CME gives them any data that allows them to see that it's him. No one cares. I mean, if you have a really good win rate, if you're one of the 1% of day traders that actually do make money, I think that the bank would be very much interested in what you're doing. They don't know it's him, but they know it's that guy. But do they have some way to say this lot today and this lot yesterday were from the same person? Bank, what bank? Like maybe Goldman. Like let's just say Goldman for the sake of argument. They don't know that it's Ace Trades or what his name is, but they know that trader 1673910 whatever is a pretty good trader and that he just went long. Because one of the things that's happened is for spoofing is they say when you're spoofing, you need to season the account. Like you have to come in and take a couple of trades first. Well, okay, so Richard Jarvis says the platform he's on knows for sure. So that's another interesting topic, right? Because to our knowledge, the FCMs and introducing brokers don't sell your order flow or do anything with your order flow. But it's entirely possible that they could be doing that and we don't know about it. And I do kind of wonder because, man, it'll be like I'm trading with my regular account or on my sim account rather. I'm trading on my sim account and it seems like I'm doing great all the time. It's really hard, but I'll have these periods where it's just like all I do is win no matter what, and then I'll start trading it. And at first I'll do good, but then I'll have a bad loser or something. And then all of a sudden it's like the market gets vengeance on you. It's like no matter what you do, you'll stick with your strategy and you'll lose a ton of times in a row. And so then you start like getting suspicious, and so you start changing it up. And no matter how you change it up and no matter how random you try to make it, it seems like that's you still lose, And I was like, why does this happen to me over and over and over again? When I go live, it's like I feel like it happens over and over and over again. And then I switched brokers, and I haven't had that experience. In fact, I kind of feel like it's the opposite. I feel like I come in here into the yields, and if I hit them with the market order, they're like, oh, we're going to move up. I guess we're going to start moving up. Isn't that weird? I mean, it's probably all in my head. But do I have any piece of data to say that is or isn't true? Like it's a theory that I literally have no way of verifying or falsifying. And it can really mess with your head, Well, that's why I started to take the position of like, I should just assume that they know. I should just assume that they know. And I'm going to take a trade in a situation where whether they know or not doesn't matter. Sure, you want to go and take it against me? That's fine, because I know like what my risk is and what the situation is. And the amount that they would have to push it against me to stop me out would be too risky for them to try and pull. Sure, X happens. It can't be your fault. It must be some big conspiracy. Yeah. Yeah, Ace, it could be. See, Richard says, yes, the market looks at you and will adjust to you, but can you prove that? So like, I know I know with the way that these algorithms work, because I know a lot more about the market making algorithms than I did. And so I understand how they look at the volume and they adjust their bids and offers to account for the volume that's coming in there and stuff, right? So I know that, but I'm asking something much more specifically, right? What I'm the most simple way of putting it is, do they have a way of knowing that the lot that I took today and the lot that I took yesterday came from the same account? That's the real question, right? Because the other ways of following it, it's like you do have an impact, but you have an impact together with the aggregate impact of everybody else, right? Especially when the market is slow, they really have. Well, yeah, because, but that's the thing. That's from what I know about the market making algorithms. Like that's the clever thing about it, man. Is like they can F with you and everything without really actually having to actively target you or anything. Which is really kind of scary, right? Is just like, you know what the average retail trader's stop is, and you know what the aggregate positions are, and you can pull your orders based on the probability of informed trading, and then you just decide, okay, which way would it screw over the most people if I moved it, and then just not hold as many limit orders on that side of the market so that it goes and stops them out. And then as it starts to go, more and more of them start panicking and getting out and create more market orders to move it. And yeah, they can absolutely do that. I mean, it works, but they don't have to target you specifically to make that happen, right? It's just like the aggregate impact of them on the way that it works is basically like everybody gets screwed over anyways, you know? But I'm asking specifically, can you season an account? Can you make it so that it knows that this lot and this lot came from the same trader? And does it know that this trader tends to perform better than this trader? And ergo, when I see a market order from this trader, I should give it more heed than when I see a market order from this trader. Use your daily loss allowance. Well, I would qualify that a little bit, Ace. I would say this: his initial target is less than the average rotation of the instrument. There you go. Tommy says, in CFDs and Forex trading, can your broker be on the other side of the trade, but not in futures? That's true. In most cases with CFDs and Forex, your broker is also the dealer and takes the other side of your trades. They can't do that in futures. Supposedly, my understanding is that the FCMs and maybe even the introducing brokers do from time to time take their own proprietary trades, though. See, I don't think that your broker would sell your order flow without you having to sign an agreement that says that they can. But could the broker look at their traders and make a trade against them based off of their own internal information that they have? How would we know? How would we know? Because let me try and be a little bit more direct about it. I'm kind of wondering if maybe some of my problems was AMP futures. You get what you smell when I'm stepping in. There's no way for me to know. I've certainly done way better on this my Ninja Trader account than I ever did on my AMP account. Oh, by the way, how are we doing on our poll here? 8 votes. Well, we have a pretty sparse stream, but if you guys haven't answered the question, if you guys haven't answered the poll here on YouTube Live about what video should I do next, I would appreciate it. You answer the question, which video are you most interested in seeing next? Right now, it looks like the daily routine video is winning, but we only have 8 votes, so that must be, if it's 62, that must be 5 for that one, and 1 for Don't Be a Follower, and 2 for the Nirvana model of markets. It's been a little bit of a sparse stream today. Did I do something that offended people? Because after the open, like, a lot of people disappeared. NASDAQ Trader says, I've heard that from a lot of people, that they scalp you on the fills. Well, okay, so this reminds me, there was this one time where I was in a profitable trade and it took me out of it early. It seemed like it took me out of it early. And I wasn't sure if it was that the broker just decided that there was too much volatility and took all traders out, or if it was just that, like, everything was so screwed up and my data feed was so far behind that I just gotten filled on my order before there was a couple of points there during the trade war, the whole trade war thing, where a couple of weird things happened that made me think, like, Do you think AMP might be up to something? Well, how do I put this correctly? I don't think I should say that I think they might be up to something. I'm questioning if it's possible, though. I'm questioning if it's possible. And then if it was possible, how would you know? Because it was in Gary Norton's course. Let me see. I should just ask. Maybe I should ask him. I don't know. I don't remember where it was, but somewhere in his course he was saying that the FCM can have their own proprietary trades on. So it does beg the question, if the FCM can take trades against you, or what is their obligations in those cases, right? Futures commission merchant activities. You being screwed over, that's why you need to pay higher fees? Maybe. Archie says, I were wondering about AMP too. I don't know, man. Well, probably what's going to happen is we're going to keep doing this, and, a week from now, I'll start doing absolutely terribly again. Oh, Anthony. So can I segue to something else? I don't want it because I don't want to be like spreading conspiracy theories or like, that's the sort of thing that they come and they're like, no, we're not doing, like they're like they could come after you. So I want to be very clear that I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Okay. I'm just wondering how would you as a retail trader protect yourself against that? How do you know that your futures broker or your FCM can't do that? Because in a situation where it's a quiet market, could AMP come in and say, oh yeah, all of our guys are long, so let's go and stop them out? Like, yeah, they could do that. I don't think that it would be very much, I don't know, that I guess maybe that would make sense, because why would they want to smash all of their traders out of business? Like, don't they want to make money off of the commissions? Well, I guess maybe it would be, there could be trading against them could be worth more. I don't know. You haven't had any issues with them? Well, I never had any issues with them either. It's just a little interesting to me that when I was trading on my live account with AMP, I often felt like the market was out to get me. And since I've been with Ninja, I haven't once had that thought. Because, well, so let me back. Is Aces still there? What, such a snooze fest in ZV? Why do people trade it? Because one tick is worth $32. That's why they trade it, Ace. Think about that. You go and you trade a micro over here, and you get, well, actually, what is the ES is 1250, right? Okay, so it moves like 3 ticks in the ES. You make the same as 1 tick in ZV. And then ZV trades like half a point. You make $500,000 off of. You can basically on almost every day. Almost every day in ZB, there is an opportunity for you to double your money from your day trade margin. Like the day trade margin is $500, and you can make $500 off of a swing trade if that's about the range that it does. So you'd be pretty lucky if you actually caught that. But RJ Will says I trade better on my Infinity account than my AMP, and I always wondered why. You're making me wonder. But anyways, the thing that I was saying is that something that I find really bizarre is that when Ace takes a trade, it'll be like, well, okay, I don't see any reason for why it would do anything. It seems like really quiet right now. He'll get in the trade, and then immediately after he gets in the trade, you see a little bit of a move. So then he explains how he was trading it to me. And there was some periods where he just wasn't around. So I would see that and I would take it, and then it didn't happen anymore. Or even worse, it was like it would like actively go against me all of a sudden, to the point where I would lose every time, even though it's a signal that should theoretically be at least random, right? And that was when I really started to think like, maybe it's because Ace has been good and it's seasoned account, like it wants to follow him. Or there's enough people following him just from chat or something. Like it's kind of, but then I think, well, it's probably all in my head. It's probably, your selection bias. I only remember the times when I was trading that and it didn't work out. Right. Another question would be your data provider. Your data provider could potentially trade against you, right? I don't know. I think that there's some rules against doing that, though, for these guys. So, it's not a problem right now, though. I've been doing really good in the treasuries. In fact, let's go and look. I'll go look. Yeah. Trying to remember the URL for Jigsaw Trading. I haven't been there in a while. I trade better on my Infinity account than my app, and I always wonder why. Do you have the same data provider on both of them?
Block buy.
That was a pretty strong buy there. I'm glad that I got out of that trade when I did. Okay. Oh, I did take a few little losers. Huh. That's 1, 2. Oh, okay. I gotta make sure that I'm not. So I've only taken a few trades with it. First day I got a little bit. Then I had 2 days where it was down, where I lost a little bit. There's a 7 and there was an 18 day. Did I really take a 18 tick loser on that, huh? And then I had the one that was really, really good, and then I had a few that. So yesterday I lost $1, and today I took one. So if I come here, I just got to be. I don't want you to see the account number or anything. Okay, so when I come in here and I look at it, I have taken 8 trades on this account so far, and I'm winning 62% of the time. And my MFE is almost double what my MAE is. So you get why I'm kind of like, It's like I come over to Ninja and I start trading the micro futures, and of course it's a really tiny sample. It's only 8 trades, but it's very clearly well above and beyond what my normal performance is. Easily well above and beyond what my normal performance is. I'm winning. Not only am I hitting a very high win rate, but I'm getting way more favorable ticks than adverse ticks. So my profit factor is well over 2. How do you do that? High win rate and profit factor over 2? Like, that's nuts, right? Only 8 trades, but so it kind of makes me wonder. And the other thing is that I took a few trades on the E-mini there that were like, oh, maze balls. I don't think I have that one on there, but because those ones I didn't take through Jigsaw, so they won't show up in Journalytics. Let's go, champ. Thanks, dude. So you need to pay higher fees? I don't know, man. You know what? I'm going to ask Z. I'm going to ask Z. Because it's now that you guys got me talking about it. Now all of a sudden I'm like in hyper conspiracy mode. What are the rules about that? Well, the E-mini is in another, like, on the open in the E-mini was pretty good, yeah, and they haven't turned outright short, so there probably is room for today for them to try and go and hit like 45.50, for instance, but very clearly it's this non-farms tomorrow is just really tamping down the volatility today, don't you think? If you make a video about it and they cancel you from YouTube, I'm not responsible. No, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go and ask Matt Z what the rules are about your introducing broker, data provider, or futures commission merchant about trading against you or using the information in their systems to make proprietary trades. And then he's going to say, nope, it's not allowed. And here's like the regulations and stuff associated with it. And then that'll be that. That's probably the answer. But it looks like, where are we at? It looks like we're going to be making a video about our daily routine. I'm gonna try and go all Peter McKinnon here. Should be fun. Should be fun. No, that's weird. YouTube had a little drop out there. Well, is there anything else going on here that we need to look at before we leave today? It's getting that time. You can tell one of the things is that I think is funny is that the activity on the stream does very much tend to correlate with the activity in the markets, which is kind of weird. Anyways, on Twitter here, people complaining about vaccine passports. Says true, yeah. Like there's always less viewers during the summer. Like during the summer, it's like 12 to 24 viewers. And then after that, it's like 24 to 30. And then if we're doing well, it's like 50. And you come over here, and that's exactly what you see. Peak of the stream was 32. Probably we're getting a little bit, well, I don't know, let's come in here and look. That Gary Norton video did so well, guys. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. 267 views. I think that is a record for first day views. It's kind of funny. Like my video on computer hardware, it was only 100 views the first day, but it's gotten thousands and thousands of views since then. It seems like, oh, that's not that great, Sept, but trust me, it changes. 7% click-through rate is not bad either. Oh, really? I had people that just searched YouTube for Gary and it sent them to my video. The suggested videos. It's showing me one of the suggested videos was when the quiet part gets said out loud. Okay. That's a weird. Must be one of you guys, and it got recommended just because you're following my channel. Nope. Why I keep feeling like I'm missing something. Am I missing something? Probably not. Sometimes when you come to the end of the day and it's like a quiet day, you don't get the high from having a successful trade. Like having a successful trade breeds success because it gives you the neurotransmitters in your brain. And I probably don't, not getting that's probably why I'm feeling that. But I had a good trade. In fact, I had probably about the best trade that I could have made. So, hey guys, tomorrow, big day. Don't miss it. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.